All right, greetings and welcome everyone. This is the You Are the Miracle podcast, and I am Cheyenne Kramer. This is my better half.
Don Kramer. Hello, everyone, and I hope you're having a great day. We are with our special guests.
Definitely are. We definitely are. We've been talking the last few weeks, especially, and we're going to talk a whole lot more about this silent epidemic that is going on, not just here in North Carolina, but all across the country, where there's just so many people. We're losing these bright lights, these amazing people to the silent epidemic of suicide. And we've just been so astounded at the number of people who have raised their hand and said, how can I help? And so tonight we are so honored to have a special guest with us here. We hadn't heard of you before, Chris, and we were just so excited when we were out networking. And it was Artemis Jameson who said, you need to meet Chris Hendricks. And she immediately started texting, and I know immediately you said, I'm in. So welcome, Chris. We're so excited to have you with us tonight.
I'm so excited to have you all as part of the Connected family. It's a cause that's near and dear to my heart, and y'all are my kind of people. So I'm just grateful to be here.
Awesome. And, I know you've had a beautiful past. We've looked at a lot of things on your website and some of the music that you've written and produced out there. You're kind of in a relaunch phase. So we feel very honored to be helping with that effort as well. So we're excited. So please, Chris, we've been trying to get a lot of our friends to listen in tonight too, just so they get a sense of who you are and what you're about. Can you tell us a little bit about your story? What brought you to becoming the music? What did I call him? The musical motivator. That was the term I came up with.
Yes, I dig it. Well, it's sort of been in my blood for a really long time. My father was and is a country music performer. He performed a lot more in his younger days, but I definitely get my musical chops from him. Mm-hmm. I've been singing since I was about 4 years old, and I've always sort of gravitated towards that transformational style. I started speaking in a positive framework, if you will, in college. I had the opportunity to give a talk when I want to say I was 20. And that led to a speaking tour. So a lot of kids my age were, spending their spring break in, Mexico or Hawaii, and I was traveling around to schools, speaking to young people about the value of persons with disabilities and how they could contribute to the world. And so I sort of skipped over that a little bit, I guess. I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy at the age of 4. So right around the time I started singing, apparently. Pretty much since my youngest days, I've always seen it as a blessing. And I've always put a positive spin on it. And so I've always sort of carried that with me. And music has always been a part of who I am. I started writing. I've been singing since I was 4, but I started writing when I was in college, right around the time I started speaking on a regular basis. And I was fortunate to have some really, really talented friends who pulled me aside and encouraged me and said that I really ought to pursue music seriously, because I was going to be a physical therapist originally. That was my original plan.
Big change.
And, how do you make God laugh, right?
Right. Well, exactly. And my mom certainly wasn't laughing when I took that left turn. Right around I'm a real kid at heart, honestly. I have a really hard time growing up, and I mean that in the most positive way. After college, I got a job at Disney World so that I could stay a kid a little bit longer. and they had a music contest, and I placed third in the music contest, and that was when my friends pulled me aside and said, you should really consider doing music. And so I went back to North Carolina from Orlando and showed up at my mom's house at like 1:30 in the morning and woke her up at which is the perfect time, by the way, to tell your mom you're changing careers, is 1:30 in the morning.
Sure.
And said, yeah, I was gonna be a physical therapist, I know, but I decided I'm gonna strum the guitar and say la 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 instead for the rest of my life. So as you can imagine, she was thrilled. And it was a life that's been filled with rich ups and downs. And I've had the extraordinary fortune of coming across people that believed in me. I ran into someone very early on that had the financial means and the belief to back me up. And so before I knew it, I went from working at Best Buy in Durham, North Carolina, to traveling around, going from Nashville to New York to Los Angeles. And I was, on stage with some of my musical heroes. One story that I don't often tell, a few of my friends know this story, but not everyone does. One of me and my father's musical heroes, Vince Gill, old school country guy from the 90s.
Yes.
We grew up huge fans and would sing his songs all the time. And I got to play at his house. I got to play guitar with him at his house.
Cool.
And afterwards, I called my dad and was like, "Yeah, guess who I got to hang out with?" And he about had a heart attack over the phone. He dropped the phone, and my stepmom had to pick up the phone and say, "Don't scare your father like that."
I love it.
But yeah, so I've had some crazy stories like that. But the highest highs come with the lowest lows, and even as a person who put as positive a spin on growing up with a condition as he could for as long as I could and as often as I tried, life feels heavy sometimes for all of us. And there were times when, that light was just trying its best to disappear, and darkness was just trying to really overtake my heart, my heart and my soul. And that's why this cause is near and dear to me. While it's not directly associated with, fighting suicide, I have a nonprofit called Perfectly Afflicted. And the mission of it is to promote social and emotional empowerment. It started out as young people, and then it just sort of became people, because we all need a hand up, right?
Exactly.
And we all need encouragement. But the seed of Perfectly Afflicted comes from a song I wrote called Affliction. And Affliction was written at a time when life felt heaviest to me. And I would be lying if I didn't say there were moments in my life where I thought maybe it would be best for people if I wasn't here anymore. But here's the thing though, right? Like, if you can fight through that and work through that, I learned, it's especially in the music business, but this is true for any business really, vulnerability is such a powerful tool.
Yes.
So, when you have courage, the courage to be vulnerable, you can connect with more widely and deeply at the same time with humanity. And to tell you the truth, when I first wrote that song, I didn't want anybody to hear it because of how personal it was to me. And it turned out that song was the catalyst that really gave me a career. When somebody forced me to play it for people, that was the song that opened up doors.
Wow.
So, it's those parts of ourselves that can really really carry us quite a long way if we let them.
Yes,
So.
and that's key. That's key. If we will allow, and it's so hard for so many people. I know one of the things that we've been hearing over and over again, we keep calling suicide the silent epidemic because so many people are afraid to speak about it. You know, too many people think they somehow were responsible. They have some kind of guilt, some kind of shame, some kind of all of these things around it. And that's part of our goal with the event that we're doing is we're trying to normalize that conversation and saying, you know, the silence is not helping. It's really just kind of making things worse as near as we can tell. So, you know, so blessings to you that you were willing to finally share that part of you that, you know, people were able to connect to. I'm sure it was big time. And I got to make mention here. I notice our friend Dory Staley is watching, and I understand Dory used to help book you.
Yeah, she did. You should tell her that if she wants to help book me some more, she's more. Feel free to jump in and do that at any time she wants. But Dory is a powerhouse and has been a positive influence on me really ever since we met, and all the different things that she's done to draw positive energy into the world. And Dory does some really, really cool stuff with drumming. I think she still does it, and if she doesn't anymore, she does. And I have ADHD, which is another super fun thing that comes along with cerebral palsy sometimes. And the rhythm that comes from learning drumming properly and learning guitar properly is a huge asset for dopamine and for steadying the mind and for steadying the brain, and it's something that the brain can grab a hold of. And with ADHD, just your mind feels just so chaotic if you don't have a way to get a handle of it. And Dory's method of knocking that out of the park without use of medication is extraordinary.
It is. And she's making remarks. She said, hey, it could happen, or maybe we could speak and play together.
Say when, Dory.
There you are.
Yeah, she's going to help promote your concert here at First Alliance. So we got her on board working with us, and it was just so funny because we had no idea that she knew you. And you know, it's just funny how the connections are all kind of coming together here in the triangle right now. And you know, I say there's a higher power at work under all of this. It just seems like there's this flame that's just growing around this whole thing in a huge way, and I'm so grateful for that.
Absolutely. Coincidence is too weak to be real.
I agree. Oh, yeah. She says you totally get it, and thanks for your kind words. So yeah, we'll do our best to get the word out here about you for sure. Where is it that you're really wanting to take your gifts? I mean, between your music and your ability to motivate, to be a speaker, I mean, what are you really hoping to see in your future? Have you had an opportunity? I know that you've got a daughter, and that kind of changed your world a little bit, but you know you're still supposed to be sharing your gifts with the world.
Well, I think that continuing to marry my music with the transformational speaking is the way to go. But lately, especially, it sounds strange to share this out loud, but back in the day as a musician, I tried really hard to distance myself from my disability, my condition. Because people with disabilities are often labeled with their disability first, and it's hard for people to get them to take for other people to take their art seriously, and sort of see us as a contender in the space. now that's kind of shifted. I see the impact I think that I can make on people in the disability community with my speaking and my music, and the disability, or the diversity, equity, and inclusion movement that's finally taking place. So where I want to go is I want to use my gifts to sort of break through that glass ceiling for persons with conditions. I want to keep doing my house concerts, but I also want to have more. I'm starting to speak more and more at corporations, and I think corporations have a lot of leverage if they have the right understanding of how to develop culture. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
an inclusive culture that makes sense and is appropriate, an inclusive culture that really allows for someone's gifts to shine and expand, put the right people in the right places at the right times. And there's just so much value in persons with disabilities and what they can bring to the workplace. We bring an extraordinary amount of empathy, both the kind of empathy that is given to others and the kind of empathy we draw out of other people. We're an extraordinarily adaptable culture. The culture of people with disabilities. We were born to adapt to different environments. We were born into a world that was not built for us, right?
Right.
So as a result, we have to adapt to our surroundings. And frankly, according to the Department of Labor, people with disabilities are the most loyal employees. We stay at jobs longer than everybody else. So
Absolutely.
I would like to teach other people how to draw more persons with disability into their lives, not just simply because or or not rather in spite of their conditions, but because of them. That's a direction
Gotcha.
I'd like to head in.
That's beautiful. It sounds like another form of organizational development that is very much needed. I used to do some of that kind of work many years ago myself, and I think we're seeing a trend in the marketplace right now where corporate America's got to do some things differently than they have in the past. I mean, making a profit is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but we got to get back to understanding the value of the human side of business.
Yes.
Because we all have so much potential, and that's what should be getting drawn out of people. So can you tell our folks a little bit what should they expect if they come out on August 9th at First Alliance to see you?
Okay, well, I'm going to be a little bold and say it's going to be an emotional roller coaster of an experience. If you come out, hopefully you're gonna laugh. Hopefully you're gonna cry. Hopefully you're gonna feel connected to the music and to each other. And hopefully we're gonna grow in solidarity with one another during the time that we have. It's going to be music. It's going to be storytelling. And it's all going to come from the heart for your heart, right? So if you come open, then I am coming to give, and my crew is coming to give. And at the end of the day, hopefully you will feel just so filled up with hope and the belief that this is something that together we can conquer, that we can overcome. Maybe that's a better word for it.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll feel joy, but you'll also feel a strong call to action for humanity at the end of the day.
Wow. I love it. I can't wait. It's going to be a great evening.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you reminded me we're having t-shirts designed right now. And one of the taglines that we've been playing with that you just brought back to mind was, together or individually we're a spark, but together we become a blaze. And that's kind of the vision of what we're putting together with this, is that we just want to create, we want to connect all those sparks and create a bonfire that can just, start to wipe out this horrible trend that we're seeing. I'm not sure if I had mentioned or if you had seen, but it was only 3 weeks ago or so that they actually had on the local news that suicide is now the second leading cause of death of 10 to 18-year-olds.
Yes, it
That
is.
is horrific. That is horrific.
Particularly in females, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yes, we will look forward to bringing people together and just having an amazing evening. And we're just so grateful that you're willing to come out and help with this. Did you have a question for Chris there?
Well, I'd like to know how people can get hold of you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, so I am personally a big believer in the power of I am, right? The phrasing of I am, the use of the word I am. So on all social media platforms, I'm just at I am Chris Hendricks.
Okay.
So if your social media platform of choice is Facebook, if it's TikTok, if it's Instagram, if it's X, I'm very rarely on X, but you're welcome to find me on. I exist on there, on Spotify, on all those things. Is just at I am Chris Hendricks, and I've got a couple albums on iTunes and Amazon Music and all that fun stuff. So
Okay.
I'm easy to find, and if anyone wants to reach me by email, I'll send you any of my music for free because I'd rather you just have it. Yeah, my email is just chendricksmusic@gmail.com. I probably gave you guys way too many things for people to remember.
That's okay. Just pick one.
I'm easy to find.
That is good. That is good. And for those who are watching this video, then right under our names over here, where it says Donald and Cheyenne Kramer, is actually a link where if you would like to register to come and hear Chris on August 9th, there's actually a page there where you can just give us your email address, your name. It'll take you to a page and just give you an option if you'd like to make a donation to this. Any amount is welcome for sure. And definitely there'll probably be a hat or a basket that gets passed as well that evening. So well, I have already, there is a QR code that we've attached to that site. And underneath the video that you're probably seeing on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube right now, you should also be able to scan that QR code and be able to get to the additional information about where Chris will be and the fun we're going to have together that evening. So that is pretty much what we've got here tonight. We thank you. We thank you. We feel so blessed to have been connected to you. And we look forward to hearing your music live. I love live music, especially when it's positive.
Yes, indeed.
Well, hey, I very much look forward to the event itself. My crew looks forward to it. It's going to be a magical connection for everyone, I promise.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us here tonight so we could introduce you to some of the folks that we're connected to. And we're going to be rocking and rolling on putting some folks in the church on August 9th. So thank you, Chris. It's been a blessing.
Absolutely. Goes both ways. Thank y'all very much. You have a wonderful evening as well.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye to her. Yes.